official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we are back to discuss Flower of Evil Season 1, Episodes 9 and 10. I had a little giggle because I have one of the episodes playing in the background. And I glanced up and I stupidly said to myself, oh hey, she looks like the wife in Flower of Evil. Duh. I forgot that's what I had on in the background. Listen, I watched a lot of TV today. Give me a break. So I went over my notes before we record because we watched these last week and I wanted to refresh my memory. And like I said, I have the episodes on in the background.
We also watched them not on the same day, the episodes.
Yeah, we watched one and then one the next day. Listen, I'm so excited to watch. I completely forgot the shit that went down.
Me too.
But
and I didn't remember, so I was sitting here waiting for you to keep talking.
You know what? Let's let it just unplay as we talk through the notes. Because I want to see your face. Donnie, how much do you remember? I know you don't remember shit because you're old like me.
I mean, I remember what these two episodes were about. Finding out about what the sound was.
Don't give too much of a spoiler because I want to see Kaylee remember it.
Right, what the sound was, and then the whole other fucking underground shit that was happening.
Like this kind of reminds me of Signal. I know.
He dropped his phone, I think.
Oh, you better go get it. It kind of reminds me of Signal, where things would just get progressively worse, and it would be like, wait, what? Now who's dead? And now it's like, wait, human trafficking. We had a serial...
How we get here?
All right, so let's just talk about the episodes. Episode 9 begins with the flashback to them feeling the baby kick when G1 was pregnant, and then
was it like a birthday or anniversary? Like, what was the point of all the lights and stuff? Because I felt like that was a special occasion to have all those lights and stuff set up.
I thought that was the first time moving into that house.
Yeah, and opening, I think, that business, because later they were like, they had an anniversary for the business, and I was like, you're never open.
It was an anniversary for moving into that house, not specifically the business.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of one and the same, I think.
Well, yeah, but they're celebrating more the fact that they moved into that house. I think it was probably their first house, as a family. So, I mean, I don't know. They kept talking about it's been so and so years since they moved into this house.
Okay. So that's why, Donnie. Those lights were very pretty. I like those lights. So it cuts to where it left off, which is the wife busting them at the journalist's apartment. But she says that she was there to suggest working with him, needing his help, and plays the tape of the accomplice. Is that what they're still calling him? The accomplice?
Yeah.
And in this scene, the sister basically almost confesses, right? Because, again, she knows that the guy, what he says in the tape, that it's the village had it coming or whatever. She knows that he didn't do it, that she did it. So she almost confesses in the scene, and you can tell she picks up something is kind of off, but she doesn't press. So then the other thing, Hee-sung woke up from his coma, and he tells the mother it's not her fault. And we were like, yeah, that's not what he's been telling her. That's what Kaylee said. He said, that's not what he's been telling her all this time. And the first thing he asked for is the guy he hit.
Oh.
So it feels like that. It feels like that shit had to have happened like
the day he came home.
Right.
he came home with this subdued in his car, all damaged, and his mother beat his ass, put him in a coma.
In the flashback, when he woke up in that house and he was like stealing stuff, the father came out of that secret room where they killed his son, and then the mother also was in there.
That's right. What the fuck happened?
So whatever happened before he even woke up from his accident.
I wonder if we'll happen now.
Of course we will.
I don't know. They're playing like they're never gonna tell us.
No, they will. They will. So yeah, and the first thing he asks is where is the man that he hit, and he asked the father something like, "Can I walk?" And he was like, "Or will I walk?" And he was like, "You'll do more than that. You'll fly." And I was like, "How?"
No. He was like, "You'll find a woman, get married, have kids."
Oh, that's right.
He was like, "That's not what I wanted to know. I just don't know if I can walk. I can still do all of that technically without walking."
That's right, because that was ableist as fuck. That's right. So, the sister says that she wants hypnotherapy to try to remember the face of the person who approached her at the funeral.
I'm so curious if that stuff actually works in real life.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know enough.
They use it all the time.
Do they? Or do you just see it on TV a lot? Do you know anyone who's ever had hypnotherapy?
I think my mom has.
But
she's done all that weird stuff.
Look at you. So the anniversary dinner party, and it's here where Hyun-soo remembers the sound because of breaking of the ice. It was a bartender breaking ice. I was a little let down because I really felt like the sound was way more like it did sound man-made. I was like, okay, I guess this will work, whatever. But oh, and then the sister meets with the journalist and she takes him to her apartment and she's like, I'm a mess.
We thought something suspicious was about to happen. We thought she was going to try to kill him.
Right, because she had all those like crime scenes from her job, like
the
mannequin heads and shit.
Yeah, and we were like, "Is she the serial killer?"
Her lights weren't on.
And she was just like, I don't know what light bulbs are. Like, I haven't gone to the store in 5 years. Like, I don't know. She was just selling herself as the worst.
I can't sleep at night.
Right? Just like, you don't want this baggage. And he just turned around and left. And I was like, oh my God, if this nigga don't come back with some light bulbs.
And he sure did.
He did.
Came back with lamps and light bulbs.
But it was like 4 scenes later.
Yeah, it was right.
I had given up. I'd forgotten he existed. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, but that was nice. So Hyun-soo goes to the bar and he's talking to the bartender. I forget why he goes to use a pen, and the pen is the same pen that his dad had. And it was a gift from someone who was like, how did he put it? He supplied the dad with something or materials.
Materials is what he said.
Right.
So he always thought it was with the metal shop. Like that was the implication that
right.
Whoever, it was like metals or
right.
something for his metal shop.
But we know it was
people. That's weird, though, just to think about, like, you're a serial killer, but people are giving you bodies to kill.
You know, oh, never mind. I'll tell you guys off. Well, I already told Kaylee, and I won't tell it. I don't think it's, well, I will. Just in case, because I know, people listening to this probably have watched and are watching other K-dramas. So I started Abyss, and I was telling Kaylee the plot of it. So I won't go into as much detail, but it's basically about these two people who were killed and come across this like alien orb that resurrects them, but it resurrects them. They look like their souls. So when he died, he was kind of, they said he was ugly. And he comes back looking like I forget the actor's name, but he's the lead in Business Proposal. And then when she died, she was, seen as very beautiful. She comes back looking, I still think, very beautiful, but the actress who was the lead in Strong Woman Do Bong Soon, right? Right, basically. So anyway, that's like the main plot of it. And I was watching like the 4th episode when I happened to look up during the credits and see that it said it was also based off of Dexter the Eye, which this is also based off. And I went into a bit more detail with Kaylee, but even just off of what I said, it's like, what? How is this?
What's the original Dexter the Eye about?
Right? Like, maybe it's not what I thought after all. No. So anyway, so it turns out that the employment people so then like it clicked. I don't know about you guys, but it was at this moment when I realized what they did with that little boy. Because it never went back to that. And I think at some point we had even said that before this. Like, where is that? Like, what's up with that? Now we know that they take people and sell them.
You haven't heard anything from his mom?
Right?
Like, is she looking for him still?
Right. Like, how do you just, like, I don't know. It's just, human trafficking is so weird to me.
So they were setting up a trap for this employment agency, and they had Ji-won meeting the woman who we saw brought the little boy in a few episodes ago in a motel, and they get her on recording making this deal, trying to have Ji-won come sell herself, basically. And they go to arrest her. Well, they do arrest her. She puts her handcuffs on her, but then Ji-won goes to open the door to let the other cops in. And the woman runs out on the balcony and she ends up falling. I was like, sis. The jump that she made, I was like, what are you doing? Handcuffed and all. Yeah. So then, I think it's the dad walks in on Hee-sung trying to walk. Right?
Yeah, he's on the floor.
And it comes up that he was on his way to meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my God.
You had a theory about who that was, right?
Who?
The wife. Didn't you say that?
Ah, yeah, I forgot that.
Like, they're making such a big deal out of it. It has to be someone important.
Right.
Who's gonna meet.
Right, that's right.
So it's like, what if
she was supposed to be with him?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, he really just took his wife and his life.
Why is that so funny?
Unintentionally. He took this man's identity.
He did.
I don't think he took the wife.
No.
No.
Like, not literally.
I think that's the... Thank you for reminding me. that's the woman that Hee-sung, the real Hee-sung, the son in the coma. Mm-hmm. The night that he was in the car, remember he was talking to somebody? They bring it up again, that he was on his way to meet
somebody.
It was a woman.
Right.
So I think because they're talking about like his life that he should have had and all this stuff, I think it's going to end up he was on his way to meet her.
Who's her?
The wife.
Like some kind of like blind date or something. I don't know.
Ji-won, the cop.
No. That's too sparse. No.
Okay. You know what?
Whatever. You're no fun.
These two, the cop in the.
We're right. I just
But they didn't meet
to
each
know
other
if-
for years later.
Not years.
Yes, it was years because he was working at a restaurant. Or no, he wasn't working at a restaurant until after the accident.
Right. He did everything we saw him do with her. He was already living as that man because he had that blonde hair.
Yeah, but I felt like it wasn't like right away. I
No,
felt like
who said it was right away? I'm saying that the night that the son got into the accident, he was on his way to meet Ji-won. And it's just like a cruel twist of fate
Like
that
if that car accident didn't happen,
maybe they would be the ones who've gotten married.
that's a far stretch.
Okay, motherfucker, you are not experiencing K-dramas.
Yeah, they would totally do that.
You know, I cannot even believe he has the audacity to act like that's a stretch.
Like
Okay.
It's so unheard of.
Right? Of all the shit that we've seen. Okay. Whatever. So, and then the dad goes and checks the secret phone again. So now that phone is old. What if that's his phone?
From
The son's phone from that night.
It's still active. He's still paying the bill for that shit for years.
I don't. Well, okay. You know
and
what?
charging it every day. Just
Whatever.
in case somebody calls.
You know. Okay. Whatever. So Hyun-soo had arranged a meeting with the human traffickers through the bartender, and he tries to make a deal with them. This is what's going on when homegirl falls from the balcony. By the way, I forgot to say that. And after, it looks like they're going to kill him, he does make a deal with them, right?
What we're talking about now, is that all in this episode that's on screen?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we visit so much stuff that we're just kind of skipping over,
Well, I mean, if that's how you feel, then we need to record right after we watch. How about that? And you need to take notes.
This is just literally, there's the party they had, a little dinner they had on their rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it immediately after this when they were washing the dishes together?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, I hate you. And they had that whole conversation.
Because what you're talking about is the brief time where she, and it was brief, where she basically said their whole marriage was over. And we were like, why?
Yeah.
And even though she had said to him, or to herself, that she was going to gift him this life, and that eventually they would divorce, that she wanted to give her daughter this family, and then eventually they would divorce. We were like, we didn't know you meant now.
And what this case still going on.
And the way she did it, like you said, was just like, I hate you.
I don't want you sleeping or eating next to me.
She was just like, and then he was like, but what?
He's like, but why? And she never really said why.
No. Mm-mm.
She's just like,
not till later.
People change.
Because he makes the deal with those human traffickers, and he picks. They're like, you hear people we have, and they have them in a shipping container. We see one of them is a little boy from episode 1. Man, he's getting a lot of checks for this show. This role is really. I thought it was a one-off thing. He picks the kid, but he doesn't know that his wife knows that kid, right? I don't think he does. Yeah. She makes a decision to trust him. And then that's when, at the end of the episode, she comes home and she apologizes, right? And says she had a rough day. And we were like, a rough day? You were
ready to call off your whole marriage. It's like, you know what? I was just being a little silly.
I was hangry. Okay, so episode 10 is when the episode begins with a flashback of when she passed into the police department in 2008, right? When he makes the deal with the... Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Kaylee got me confused. See, I think I wasn't supposed to say that now. And Donnie is useless.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Say what?
There's like, it's just, we didn't talk about how he remembers, of course, the ice thing, but like he remembers it because in the recording, it's like a guy asking, "Do you need an ashtray?"
Yeah.
And then he remembers the accomplice actually walking behind him and dropping the coat and everything.
Listen. Then we need to record right after we watch. Because my notes is just like the best that I can do. When I say these things, you need to jump in and be like, oh yeah, because blah, blah, blah. You can't wait till we move on.
I don't do that.
Anyway. All right. Anything else? Okay. Where I'm confused with when he meets with the human traffickers. There's like a moment where they're like, you're full of shit and we can either sell you to him, to the accomplice, right? Where I'm confused is the kidnappers, the human traffickers. There was a moment where they were saying we could either sell you, Hyunsu, to the accomplice, or we can sell him to you, right? And you're saying, Donnie, he offered them a bunch of money, and they were like, fine, we'll go with you over him, right? And they showed him something on a computer. Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
It was the victims.
That's what it was? Okay. It was this, and so that's when they eventually, because they didn't show us that right away. I think that's what confused me, is because like after they show it to him, he's running through the park to meet her. And I was like, what did they show him? Okay. So again, me knowing what happened later, I'm thinking all of that. It did happen there, but they just showed it to us out of order. Okay. Right. So when the reporter shows up with he shows up with the light bulbs and stuff,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's the scene where they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Or not even like fighting, she's just like, I don't love you anymore. She says like, I didn't have a reason that I fell in love with you, so I don't need a reason to fall out of love with you. And I thought to myself, like, the fact that she just apologized and everything kind of goes back to normal. She was like, I wouldn't forget that. I'd be thinking about that forever.
Nope. Because he got his own shit to hide, so he's like, phew. So So yeah, at first the sister is mad that he shows up, but like he refuses to leave and says he's not going to go. And he starts like hanging up stuff. And then she calls Ji-won, right? When Hae-soo calls Ji-won, she confesses something kind of. I'm like lost. I can't remember what that was. So while all this is going on, the old lady from his old village.
She just said she knows who the real killer is. And oh yeah, she's like,
because she found the recorder.
Oh no, I'm talking about the sister.
Right. She calls. I'm sorry. Yes, the sister. When she calls Ji-won, she's
like, when it's time, I'll tell you or something.
Right.
And then we're like, she's gonna die.
Yeah. Right. That's right. She's
like, just tell her now.
That's right. But she does say that the brother is innocent, that he never killed anyone. That's right. Yeah, so the old lady calls Detective Choi, and she says she found this recorder in her home. And she's thinking it could have belonged to whoever the guy is that attacked, you know. So he gets it and later turns it over to someone to have the data retrieved from it. So when she
does Kayla remember what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, neither of you have mentioned the other thing that happened.
I just remember what the detective.
Right. No, there's something else. Okay, so anyway, so she calls about the recorder, and then, after they had met in the park, or maybe when they were in the park, she tells him she wants to, like, when this case is done, she wants to go live in the countryside.
Enroll their daughter in a different school.
And we were like, you hated him yesterday.
She's going through a midlife crisis.
You divorced him yesterday.
In one episode. So, they make a deal with, we see that the deal he made with them was that he'd get the little boy plus the info on the accomplice. Mm-hmm. And he would give them, I forget what the dollar amount is, but whatever the amount is, he calls his fake father for it, right? Okay. Prior to that, though, before the phone call, they tell he sung everything about having this man fulfill, live his life. And he was like, now what? Like, what are we going to do?
Can I have my life back?
He was like, let me ask him. Like,
maybe he'll feel pity for me when he sees me like this.
And the dad was like, never. That's never going to happen.
He's a psychopath.
I feel like they could work something out, but the dad ain't going to let that happen.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I totally just move to the countryside like she wants.
This is killing me right now. So, the woman who fell off the balcony ends up dying, right? So, she has to go into work because of that. And he's left to then call in. He takes off his wedding ring. It's so dramatic. And he calls in as Hyun-soo, like, is the accomplice or whatever, and says that he's going to offer them this deal, that he's made this deal with these human traffickers and all this stuff. So they plan on double crossing him, because he says, my plan is I'm going to meet with them and do the first half of the deal, and then I will tell you where the boy is. But, he doesn't obviously want to get caught, and they want to double cross him. Mm-hmm. And part of that, Choi is kind of like pushing, and because she knows it's her husband, she's the one who's like, you can trust us. And so this is like detrimental later when he when he finds out what he finds out. Mm-hmm. Right. He remembers this moment. He remembers her kind of, yeah. So the sister is hypnotized, and she almost remembers the person's face, but she gets scared because they're writing like the number on her arm.
She's like saying like he's looking at her and he's memorizing her face, and so she's like, he knows what I look like. He's gonna come for me.
And she's like, I want a new therapist.
Oh, that's right. Because the reporter calls her, and she's like off somewhere, and her therapist answers the phone for her.
That's right. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who does that?
And he's like, the only reason she answered is because I have a kind sounding name, so she goes and changes his name in contacts to just reporter.
That's right. The father then, I cannot believe, I don't know, it may not be true. So he offers Hyun-soo 10 times the money that he asked for if he would just leave. And he says no.
He's like, we'll take care of your wife and daughter. You just disappear. Because did he tell him here that the real son woke up?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think
he doesn't know yet, right?
Mm-mm. Now,
this is
she told, hold on a second. She told what?
Oh, it's about the scene of the father talking, him and his father talking. It's because he said he offered to have him move away and he'll take care of his family, and he's like, no, like he declines it, and then the father's like, good, then we want the same thing, and then I was like, I'd be suspicious. Like, why do you offer that?
That sounds like the opposite thing of what I want. Why were you thinking that? So she told her husband when he dropped her back off at work that she was going to call him at a certain time. But she ends up calling the number of
guy
who they think is Hyun-soo.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's using like a voice disguiser. And she asked him what was on the recording, what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was his mother's voice. That when his mom left, that was like the only thing he had. So then she feels like shit, and she calls up that therapist from like 20 years ago.
She's like, how could you not know?
And you're like, bitch, first of all, who is you? Like, we met once, like, last week, and I, like, shared some information. You calling out, like, you should have known. Although I was frustrated with that whole situation. But, yeah.
So obvious.
So obvious. So, homie recovers the recording. Because, again, when he found it, or when she called him, we were like, oh, well, he deleted it. So we were thinking it can't be really anything too incriminating. And then he went to a nerd and did nerd shit on it. Next thing you know,
I got all the information back.
And it was so like expository. It was like, do you, Hyun-sung or whatever, Hee-seung, pretending to be Hyun-soo.
It was supposed to because he's trying to get him to admit it on tape.
I know, but it was and I guess
purposely
again,
being obvious.
And he was purposely answering because he knew he was being recorded,
Yeah.
and he was gonna, yeah. And it's funny because I remember saying when that scene happened that I was frustrated because I was like, he can't be that stupid, and he wasn't, but he also was. Like, he should have thrown it out the window.
Destroyed it.
Yeah, kept it. So, yeah, and he confronts her in the middle of like a briefing.
He grabs her and he's like, you shouldn't be in here.
And like they like let him manhandle her a little bit too much to my liking.
Until they're out the room, they're like, you get your hands off her.
Right. Yeah, he confronts her, and she basically looks guilty as fuck. So I don't
even trying to hide it.
I don't know how she gets out of this, but I feel like it's a K-drama, so she will. Like, I can't see how.
Is that it?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say something, but I guess.
Now you guys don't remember the other big thing.
I just got to it. I know what it
I
is.
remember our theory.
It's the bracelet.
Yeah, that. But I
Yeah.
don't remember why we thought that.
Yeah, I don't remember why we thought it either.
Daddy said it's the bracelet.
He has.
So she remembered the accomplice having the bracelet when he wrote the phone number on her arm,
Right,
and
right.
then she's looking
And
at
it's the
it.
logo of a hospital. And
Right,
then
and
she
then
looks
it's
it up
his-
and it's photos of
of
his hospital.
his-
Right, that's
Of
right.
his dad,
Right.
his fake dad.
And that would make sense because it feels like the killer, his like accomplice would be his contemporary, like in age.
Right.
Right? Like it wouldn't be someone younger. It would be someone about his age. And
I just think that's a stretch though to have the fake, like just the.
well, again, it's a K-drama. So,
It is,
and how
yeah.
many episodes do we have? No, I mean you're right. It could be like, what are we? Episode 10? How many is it? 6
16.
more? Yeah, I mean that's a lot to.
Look at the family photo.
He's like, did I look like that? Like, why did y'all let me dye my hair like that? He's like, so you're telling me people think that was me? Anyway. So you think I think it could go either way, honestly. The main reason I would say it's not is because it's so early. Like 6 episodes, and these are like hour and plus change episodes. That's a lot to story left for them to reveal something that big.
I think it is him.
But again, it's a K-drama, and it's enough to keep it.
Because like I don't even think that's like the main like climax of it. I think the main climax of this whole story is people finding out about the husband. Oh, and like what?
I feel like it's all still connected though. Like when one thing comes out, everything is going to come out because it's so ridiculously connected, including. Although maybe you know what that would. I don't know. My theory that the son was going to go meet Ji-won that night. So I'd be like, why wouldn't she remember his name?
Well, I don't.
But then we never say we don't know why she was so fixated on him to begin with.
I was just thinking it was like a blind date setup.
Could be, yeah.
Because like he was like talking to another guy about her, and like it seemed like whoever he was talking to was giving him information about her.
I'm going to punch you in the nose because I specifically have asked twice now. Like, the conversation, it felt important, but do you remember, like, what it was about? And you were always like, now you're like, so...
I don't remember the specifics, but that's vaguely what I...
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I mean. It felt, like, important. And it felt like we knew it was about a woman, but so that's what I'm saying. It was so vague to me. I didn't know it was that detailed. It was also just, like,
he didn't know anything about her.
It's her. It's her. It's totally her, Donnie. I'm sorry. You're about to get... K-drama right up the butt. You're about to get K-drama. That's what they do to you.
But it's like when the fucking reporter first meets up with the sister for the first time. He's like, how come I've never ran into you in the past 15, 20 years? And he's like, oh yeah, the city's big.
Why are you questioning the K-drama? Don't question the K-drama of it all. Anyway. All right, so that's it. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I didn't poll you guys on this. Is she getting out of this?
No. They got some... Maybe.
It's 6 episodes left. That's what I'm saying.
They have, like, proof that it's her husband. So, he is not going to get out of it. But I don't know if she can, like, pull off pretending that she didn't know. I feel like she could, because there's no evidence.
The only thing that would save it is the reporter saying that's not what it seems to be, what you hear. But
I mean, like we were just role playing. We were
role playing. It's a sex thing.
I wonder how admissible that is, though. Like in the grand scheme of things, like. The woman said that it wasn't hers. You're just assuming. Like, what if it was mine? Like, what if I came and delivered her a pizza and it fell? And then she's like, I don't recognize this. Let me call the cops. Then the cops listen to it and they hear me confessing to a crime. They're like, oh, we better go get this. Hush. They'll be like, oh, we better go get this Nina Perez. And it's like, is that even legal? I don't know.
That's enough for suspicion.
I guess.
I mean, especially in this case, because it's so directly connected to what they're currently investigating.
Yeah. I'm just curious to see how this plays out. Because, I just can't wrap my mind around this many things being somewhat resolved. That's like him being caught, her being caught, and the dad possibly being the accomplice in one episode. Who are you calling?
It's just randomly, like, I look at my phone and it has the number pad piled up, and there's, like, numbers and I don't know what was happening.
Jesus Christ.
There's, like, the emergency call thing.
Oh, you're so stressful. Jesus Christ. Anyway. All right, Donnie, any predictions before we go?
I don't know. This show just fucking... you guys get K-drama. It's like, I don't fucking know what's going to happen next.
We have to get him to watch Signal.
He couldn't handle Signal. He could not handle Signal. He would be a mess, but we got to get him to watch it. All right. That's it.
The father's still going to be alive. Fuck him if I know. I don't know.
His real father. His real father.
He's gonna be in another secret room in the dark. In this fucking...
You know what? He could be.
They said he killed himself, but they never went into specifics.
Right.
You think he'd have
And they only knew he was the killer after he killed himself.
I was gonna say, you think he would have, the main guy, he would have like some kind of flashbacks to like finding out about his father's death, but we've never really. Yeah, they never talked about it.
No, we got 6 episodes. That's what I'm saying. So much.
Also, he's having a panic attack in the bathroom.
He's keep having these panic attacks, and it's like it's not being addressed.
Like, at first, I thought he was having a heart attack because it looks painful.
And that's why I was so stressed with her, because it's like, you know, and you want to help, but like at this point, just tell him you know and help. Do you know what I mean? Like you're playing these like games, and then when you're like her hair.
She's going to work
with bad head,
the same clothes.
Her hair's a mess. But like you already know, and then you do things like I want a divorce, and you're like, I'm sorry, I don't want to. Like, girl,
Move to the countryside.
girl, right? Like, girl, stop. Anyway, all right. So we'll talk to you next time. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for subscribing.